but I think we can all agree. You look at these defenses in the Super Bowl, you look at the defenses that were in last year's Super Bowl. Like, I know we say this Bengals defense doesn't need to be elite. It just needs to be average because of the offensive, output from, from Joe Burrow and company. But man, oh man, the gap that still exists between the Bengals defense now and the two teams in the Super Bowl. It's a good thing they got Al Golden, but they have a lot of work to do, and it can't just be all in the draft. They have some work to do as far as pieces that they need to add to bulk this up to somewhat replicate what we're seeing from these two teams that have made it to the Super Bowl this year and even last year when you look at the two teams.
No, you're right. I think the only reason Bengals fans rely on that middle-of-the-pack conversation talking point is because we've seen it twice. They got to the AFC Championship with a 15th-ranked defense, and they got to the Super Bowl with a 16th-ranked defense. Now, if you look at every non-Bengals statistic, you need a better defense than that to win a Super Bowl. But I think just the fact that we've had two successful seasons in the recent history of the Cincinnati Bengals franchise, and both of those came with mid-level defenses, we've all unanimously talked ourselves into that being what we need because we've seen it before. Now, would I like a top 10 defense? Absolutely. And if Joe Burrow had a top 10 defense, I couldn't even tell you the stuff I'd be saying because the confidence I would have in that team to win a Super Bowl would be through the roof. So hopefully Al Golden can get there. Hopefully the front office will give him the funds he needs and the player personnel decisions that he needs. That's a talking point we had on Chatterbox Bengals right when we went live after they hired Al Golden, was making a hiring like this early in the offseason, this big of a change with Lou Anarumo, who's been there for so long. How much player personnel control do you give Al Golden and his new staff right off the rip? We know the defense is the biggest position of need, side of the ball of need. There's a lot of positions of need on that side of the ball, but how much say do you give to your first-year defensive coordinator, a first-time NFL DC, to draft the guys that he wants in the room, the guys that he wants on his defense? And I just don't know how that'll work. I think it definitely helps him in the sense that the Bengals don't have a scouting department or anything along those lines where they have to rely on their coaches. But I think most of the time with first-year coaches, you kind of dial back the amount of say they'll have. But with how much change we need in our defense, I hope the Bengals give Al Golden the controls to get what he believes he needs. Otherwise, they shouldn't have hired him if they don't believe he can do that.